Hey guys, welcome to the welcome to the Goodfellow Podcast. I'm your host Joe Barone. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that like button, and we got that Patreon channel too. So tune into that. I got a few good things on that I've added in the last couple of weeks. And don't forget to go to the Goodfellow shop where it's got all the memorabilia, some shirts, some hats, and all that kind of stuff. We're definitely going to talk about what's going on with the FBI tonight. But before I get into that, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in because, and I'm sorry if I don't get to a lot of the questions. I think we put up the Goodfellow.com to reach out, and we will answer it. Believe me when I tell you, I don't care if it's 6 months later, which I don't want, but I will still answer it. Thanks. I was on Dominick's show earlier. I want to say thanks to all of Dominick's fans, Big Arms, Anthony, Craig, Shay, Susan, Cynthia. I want to shout out to my girlfriend Giovanna, beautiful as she is. Hi, babe. I can't thank everybody enough. Everybody's been so kind to me, and and to Dominick as well, my brother. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. So let me jump right into this FBI thing. I am so happy. Now I don't. Oh, just a little bit of background. I don't really watch TV that much, as opposed to the news. Even though I did watch it now because of the big thing with letting the hostages go and all this kind of stuff, some peace going on, and I like that. But when I heard that this Jim Comey, the director of the FBI at one time, got charged finally for what he did, it made me happy, and I'm going to tell you why it made me happy, why I felt good about it. Of course, everybody knows the situation I was in. I was, an associate. I did bad things, whatever you want to say. Okay, fine. But I knew what I was involved in. I didn't make no bones about it. I didn't say, oh, I can't do that. I did this or that. Yeah, I did work undercover for the FBI too. But there's a certain level of betrayal that nobody can get around. Now, if I would have got caught by the wise guys, I had everything coming to me. And as a man, I was willing to accept my fate. I don't want to die, but if that's what was going to happen to me, which probably was going to happen, that's fine. But when the FBI does it to you, they pretend they're being the good guys. And this is what's really the problem. You had all these people doing bad things. And at this one time, I remember the saga back in the days, everybody going after Trump, everybody saying this between Clapper from the CIA, and all these people. Everybody, as a matter of fact, they think Eric Trump just came out with a book. I forget the name of it. I just saw it quick on TV. Let's put it this way. These people went through so much turmoil, but to see that finally the FBI director was being charged with something, what a relief off my head. But that's not the only thing. Let's see if somebody finally goes to jail. Like they had that Peter Strzok and Lisa Page or whatever her name was. She got like $800,000 after she got fired from the FBI. He got like $1.2 million. Really? After all the stuff that they actually sounded like they were trying to actually say, look, we have a contingency plan to not let Trump get elected. Wow, that's almost like a wise guy talking, except we wouldn't use that sort of language. You know what I mean? But it made me happy because it's finally something is opening up. The can of worms is opening up. The only thing that gets me aggravated is what really gets me aggravated is the fact that nobody ever gets arrested. Nobody ever has to answer to anybody. Nobody has to do anything like that. And that's wrong. You see, if I said any of this stuff that like some of these politicians are saying, like that guy in Virginia or wherever it was that he says, I want to kill my opponent, his children, and all this kind of stuff like that. Do you know what would happen to me or you or anybody? Like you put something on Facebook and you want to write something down or say something about somebody. What do? Right away you're blocked, you're banned off of Facebook. Why is the law different for politicians or FBI agents, police, anybody like that who are supposed to be held to a higher standard? Why is it okay if nothing never happens to them? But if you're like a guy like me and you got a last name like Barone or whatever like that, then to the most part, let's face it, things happen and it's bad. And we always wind up going to jail. Meanwhile, I see some comments already going up there. I know you got some stuff going on, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? Make some room over there. But the bottom line is like this. Let's see if anything really happens to this Jim Comey, because what he did was he actually leaked reports purposely. In his words, he says, I did it on purpose to a guy that was in the some paper or CNN News or whatever the heck it was. You're not supposed to do that, because all of a sudden they go in front of Congress and go, well, I can't talk about that. There's an ongoing investigation. Ongoing investigation about what? You can't talk about it? Now, one thing I got to say about the judge, Judge Buchwald, in my case, when I was doing my stuff like that and they wanted to know, oh, we can't talk about this. She says, well, let me look at what Mr. Barone did in camera over there. Let's see what he did. And next time she came out, she read my whole file. They lied about that. They lie about everything. Everything they lie about. But nothing ever happens to them. And to me, that's two different sides of the laws. I always watch once in a while. I used to watch Sean Hannity. I like Mark Levin and all of that. But nothing happens to these people. Sean says that, oh, he sticks up for the FBI. He sticks up for a lot of these people. Well, okay, good. But look at how many people Cash Patel, this guy, fired already because of the stuff that they did. And now you got this Letitia, whatever the girl was, that prosecutor that went against Trump. Now she's crying the blues. Oh, they were after me now. Why? It was okay for you to do it, but now that it's coming to you, you don't like it. Let me tell you something. Loyalty's a two-way street, we always say all the time. Well, where was her loyalty to her job and to her? She's supposed to be held up big, but she went after people for no reason. And guess what she was doing? The same thing that she was accusing Trump of, she was doing it. Now she got caught and she don't like it. Why? Who is she or anybody else to point the finger and then all of a sudden doing the same thing there? Now, like I said before, when I was doing my thing in the street, breaking jaws, having fights, collecting money, doing whatever I had to do, I never said I wasn't doing it. I never said that. I never said I was the toughest guy, but I hurt a lot of people. I never cried the blues. I didn't say any. I didn't cop out of a bid because I was scared. I didn't do that. I had legitimate reasons. Whether you believe them or not, I don't care. But the bottom line is the FBI is more dirty, like I've been saying from the beginning of this podcast, since a whole year ago, since I've been on it. The FBI are worse than the gangsters in the street. And I ought to know. And that's why I want Dominick to be the governor of Florida, because why? He can see corruption. There's corruption in the jury. There's corruption in the court systems. And when I mean not the jury, I mean the judge. It's horrible. Should we look at a couple of I see a lot of stuff coming on, so I want to make sure I get to everybody because I ain't trying to hurt nobody. But I got a lot of time tonight. I ate dinner before I came.
We got Jeffrey. What's up, old friend? It's Jeff D from Neuro.
Oh, shit. How you doing, Jeff? Good to see you. Last time I seen you was about, a long time ago. I was in some store or something, and you walked up to me. Good to see you, brother. Thank you.
Jeffrey says, I have a good story about your dad and us. It was the Barnyard School incident. Do you remember?
No, Bernard School. Yeah, it was when we got beat up. Yeah. Remember how bad I got beat up? They broke my nose. They broke my jaw. Everything. Remember that? Didn't you get kicked in the? He had a foot mark. There was about how many guys were there? Maybe 15. He had a foot mark. The guy kicked him with a sneaker, and we were young. We were like 11, 12 years old, and the guy kicked him off the swing. The guy must have had a size 14 foot. It still had the mark of the dust on it from the bottom of his shoe on his shirt. I think we were with Greg Crow, me, Jeff, and I forget the girl who was there with us. We told her run, and she ran. Yep.
We got Fran Howard. Where was your loyalty, to the feds or to the streets?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. My loyalty at one time was just the streets because I grew up in the streets. So, yeah, my loyalty was there until they betrayed and killed my father, from what I understand. And even growing up, I was talking about this with Louis Galello, my friend from their show, too. We didn't really care about the wise guys back then. I mean, we respected them. We gave them a little something, but they didn't impress us that much. But once my father was in it, what was I supposed to do? And after that, that was it. But when I decided to go with Team America, if you want to call it that way, I was loyal to those guys. I did the right thing. all right, I didn't give all the information maybe that I could have, especially against my friend Dominic and stuff like that. Everybody knows my friend Dominick Cicale from Mafia Roundtable. He was my boss, he was my captain, but most of all, he was my friend. And, he's giving you plenty of stories. I paid him his money when he went away. I fought with him in the street if I had to, or whatever I had to do. I was willing to shoot anybody when the time came, and that's the way it was. But I guess I was loyal to you, who was loyal to me, because loyalty is a two-way street. But thank you for that question. Oh, it is my girl. She said, what'd she say? Love you, Joe.
Love you, Joe.
I love you too, babe.
I got a question. Speaking of Dominic, so everybody on Mafia YouTube right now is saying how Louis Castman has a problem with Dominic and how they don't get along. But we just had both of them on our show, and they seem to get along great. So what do you think that's all about?
I think it's just that somebody wants to get attention. That's what I think. If somebody's trying to get attention, listen, I know about there's people on there just trying to build their channel up by saying stuff about somebody else. But listen, if Louis didn't like Dominic, we just had the show. Dominic and Louis was on it. Dominic come in, and I was glad that he did. A lot of people don't know somebody. Sometimes they'll judge somebody without even talking to him. But once you talk to a guy like Dominic, listen, you could go either way. You either like him or you don't. Either way, he don't care either. You know what I mean? Just like me too. Everybody who always wants to judge somebody, talk about this. Well, here, I'm in my pajamas now, but I don't have my shoes on. But walk a mile in my slippers, and you can't even judge me.
Hello says, did you ever hang out on Mamaroneck Avenue in White Plains?
Yeah, I did. Mamaroneck Avenue. There's a ski shop over there. I bought a lot of ski clothes. I also hung out in Mamaroneck because it's a long road, Mamaroneck Avenue. But yeah, I was up there from time to time. Yep, that's pretty good.
Now, before we go back to some more comments, what were you going to say about the mobsters right now? There was a hierarchy change?
Yeah, I was watching the show, I was watching Mafia Roundtable the other day, and then plus I saw the thing where this guy says, I forget who he is, but he says they got Ralphie Balsamo going to be like higher up in the Arcula. Somebody was going to be a Councieri, and then there was Hippie was going to be like the underboss now. I was like, what? Look, I don't know what happened to the Mafia, but in the days when I was in it, it was a totally different thing. Let me tell you something. They had more respect then. They were more dignified as opposed to kept to the rules more. Now it's like open season. Look, Ralphie Balsamo, when I knew him, when he was just worked at the funeral home that he still owns, he was nobody. He was not really, he didn't even act like a tough guy, but he thought who he was a little bit because he had money and everybody used to go to Balsamo's, over there in the Bronx. But let's put it this way. Hippie and all those guys, I'm not saying they won't do something now or they won't have a problem with you because they have to fight you now. But all of those guys, we would wipe the street with them. The guys I hung around with, and even me, myself too. When my friend Sal Larker and them, they shot up the kid Pete's car. My friend Pete I talk about a lot of times. They shot his car. Then all of a sudden they come to me and they say, Joe, what do you want to do? At the time, I pulled out a cardboard box underneath the bed and I had all my guns on there. And I said, okay, guys, pick your thing. Let's go down to the Bronx. We'll take care of it. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? We're going to find them and we're going to take care of business. And then they didn't even do it. So this is what I mean by a certain level of people. You don't stand up and don't come to me then if you're not going to back yourself up. You come to me to do all the work too? Forget about it.
We got a super chat from Adam Rogers. Thank you, Adam.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
He says, did you know any guys from Montreal? They're crazy now.
I heard of them, but I never went to Montreal. Listen, I like to stick to where I was. I'm not really a traveler, But Montreal, yeah, they got the real Italian guys. They came from Italy, and they are crazy. And they're going to get also crazy because I think there's a struggle up there for who's going to be in power. So, yeah, it's going to be bloody, without a doubt.
Hello says, did you ever go to the restaurant Mulino's in White Plains? Do you know anything about it?
Yeah, I went to Molino's all the time. I went there just before I took my second pinch. I went there for New Year's Eve, and I knew the Gigantes that own it. Listen, the food was good there. They knew me there. They treated me good, except for one time I went there a long time ago, and they scammed my credit card for an extra $65. I says, you got to be kidding me. So I went there the next day. I went in there. I raised a little hell. I was like, "What are you guys kidding me over here? You know, rob the Jewish guys. Don't rob me. I'm Italian, bro. We're all Italian. What's wrong with you?" But it was the bartender, and he was a little fresh about it. He says, "Oh, just pay him back." Then he knew what he did, but there was a little older guy there, short guy with the dark glasses, nice guy. I don't know if it was their uncle or anything. He says, "Look, sorry about everything. Next time you come here, free bottle of wine and everything, champagne, whatever. We'll take care of you." I said, "Okay." So I brought some friends there. And they weren't, nobody was, I'm sitting at the table 20 minutes. So I went and I spoke to Mario. And Mario was a really good guy, okay? So I talked to Mario for a few minutes and he understood what everything I told him the story. Well, forget about it. They brought the champagne. There was a girl standing by the champagne, never moved. Anytime our glass got it down a little bit, the thing was full. 4 waiters at a time coming here, back and forth, back and forth. They said, "Joey, what did you say to the guy?" I says, "Don't worry about it. It's a certain thing between us." And Mario took very good care of me. But the place is nice, and I did go to Molino's a few times. Yeah.
We got another one from Adam Rogers. Did you know Sal, the iron worker? He got killed in Montreal. And was he a stand-up guy?
Yeah, I heard about Sal. I didn't know him, but of course I did. I heard of him. Yeah. As far as I know, he was a stand-up guy. Yes.
That's all the questions for now.
Oh, that's it? Okay, thanks. So anyways, about the politicians and the FBIs, when is it going to be legal? When is it going to be, as opposed to, are these people going to be able to say anything and do anything they want, and then we can't, but they can? As far as I'm concerned, I know a lot of people don't, they don't want violence and stuff like this, but when is it going to, sometimes in the mafia life, you have to kill people. I'll tell you a lot of reasons why. Some people deserve it. Some people got to come to them, yes. But it also keeps everybody in line. Because you're not going to do something stupid because now your life is on the line. Yeah, there's certain things you can get fined for. You could be put on a shelf. You can get certain things, done to you like that. But you do have a certain fear that you make one mistake, it could cost you your life, okay? So in this world, even with the politicians, when is the people going to stand up? Everybody's just happy to be like, "Oh, no, that's okay. I got money. I got a house. I got this. I don't care." Well, that happened in the 300, and I like a little bit about history. You see what happened in the 300, even though there was more than just 300 people back in Greece and all of that stuff like that. They died for what they believed in, okay? They sacrificed their own lives for freedom. Now, the next generation that came after that, they didn't do it. Okay, because sometimes the generations get watered down a little bit. Just like when the Mafia started out in Sicily in the first place, it was very powerful, and they still are powerful to this day. But then certain things don't worry about it. No. Okay, you have to start living by rules. That's just the way it goes. We got a couple more up there coming up. I see.
Yeah, here's one from Adam. He says, "Did you know any Jewish gangsters?"
I'm trying to think. I think I met a Jewish gangster, a couple of them in prison when I was in prison. Yeah, but I can't remember their names now. You're going back into the 90s now, so it's a long time ago. But definitely, I knew some Jewish gangsters. I knew Russian gangsters. Those guys were pretty tough too. And don't sleep on the Jewish gangsters. Let me tell you something. Some of them Jewish guys are tough. Okay, believe me when I tell you. I know I had a couple of run-ins with them here and there, but the Russian guys were great. Oh, man. This one guy did martial arts like I did, and we used to play chess. We flip a garbage can over. I would do he would kick my legs out like this, and he hold my legs there like in a split so that we would get the stretch going on. So we play one game like that, then I would push his legs out a little bit, so stretched it too. So he was pretty good, though. Tough guy.
I have a question for me.
Okay.
So you're very critical of the FBI.
Very critical because they're hypocrites.
Have you ever thought about re-pursuing your case against them, your lawsuit against the FBI?
I would love to do that if I could open it up, but it takes a lot to do that. Can we present new evidence? One of my attorneys, his paralegal, lost some of my evidence that I did have, but I would love to open it up again. Let's face it, they owe me. They owe me big time. My life was... Listen, even my handler, Vincent Bizzuti, said at my trial, my life was in constant danger all the time. I'd like to see all these people, these keyboard warriors, even some kid even, I don't even want to give him I don't even remember his name. He said he beat me up when we were 12 years old. So, what does that mean? You think I never got beat up before? Like, but he had to say that to get on the like the
It
keyboard.
was probably just some crazy.
Yeah,
Play.
I don't know what he looks like. I don't know his name. If he did beat me up, that's okay. I'm not invincible. I'm not Superman, you know. But listen. Even though I'm 64 years old, I like to see him now, 64 years old, and let's see what we can do. If it's 12 years old, I still fight him to this day. I don't care. But if he beat me up, I don't care. I got beat up plenty of times. Had my nose broken, I don't know how many times. I had my jaws broke. Who cares? I got stabbed. I got everything. Who cares? It doesn't matter. What else we got?
We got a super chat from Ryan Brown. Thank you, Ryan.
Hey, what's up, Ryan? Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Salud.
He said, Joe, odd question. When you were in that life, did you know any guys that were wheelchair bound? I asked Dom if a guy confined to a wheelchair could get made, and he said yes. I wish I was Italian, LOL.
Yeah, matter of fact, one of the guys that was in it, he was in a wheelchair on my first bid. Audie, I think his name was. But yeah, you can get straightened out. You got to remember, it's not always about just what you can do with your hands or shoot a gun. If you might have something going on with I don't know, in the stock market or something, or something with computers, or you got another connection somewhere else, or whatever it may be. So it's not always all about being tough, but you do need the people, to be able to back you up. Like, in other words, you know what I mean? Look, there was a guy one time, he owed money and everything. I said, listen, you can call the cops on me or whatever. I go away to jail for a little bit, but I got 50 guys behind me. What are you going to stay in your house all day? What are you going to have armed guards around you all day? This is what it is. But that's because, I was not as smart like as, say, my boss and Dominick or something like that. He was able to put a lot more things together than I was. I mean, I was just a regular loan shark type of guy. I just loaned the money. I knew how to do it. Of course, I would do whatever else it would take, But, but that was a good question. It wasn't offbeat. It was good. Thank you for that. And thanks for the contribution. Appreciate it.
Adam Rogers says, can you tell a story of you and Dom partying or any stories that we might not have heard yet?
Well, Dominick and I we used to go to the city a lot. Dominick introduced me to apple martini, so I was with his cousin at that time, and he was with some other girl, and we went down to the city, and he introduced me to apple martinis. Now I had 2 apple martinis. Forget about it. He had a BMW back then when they first came out, the 740 Fizz-Eye, and I was like this in the back seat, passed out. But Dominick was funny. I mean, he was really a lot of fun to hang around with. We went to Hawaii Sea one night. He called me up. It was about 11:30 at night. He said, I'm at Hawaii Sea. You want to stop by for a drink? I could have said no, but I wouldn't do that. So I passed by there, and he was with Gregory Hill, walked in there, and he was trying to fool around with Dominick a little bit like that. And Greg is a good guy. Greg Hill is a good guy. I actually really like him. And he can handle himself, too. He's not no punk. And but then I grabbed Greg, and he goes, "Oh, was it like that, Joe?" And then Dominick was laughing because you can't put your hands on Dominick. He's my captain. He's my boss. So yeah, we had a lot of good stories. Sue's Rendezvous, like I was talking about on his channel. Dominick, when he spent money, he didn't care. He was just a lot of fun, especially when we weren't talking about business. But when it came down to business, he was serious. Yep.
Here's one from Hello. They said, what's the name of that road in New Rochelle with all the bars that would let you in at 16 with the fake IDs?
Was it North Avenue? It was on North Avenue back then. They had all those bars, like it was like Characters, Tammany Hall. Oh, you're talking about a lot of different bars. I mean, but yeah, they don't care. It was fun. My cousin used to work as a bouncer at Characters. I knew the owner at Characters, so he got the job over there. We had a lot of fun in those bars, but it was a different kind of thing. I was more of a club guy. I used to dance a lot. Even when I was younger, I used to break dance back in those days when it first came out. But, I'm not going to flip on the floor like I did now, back then. You know what I mean?
Ryan Brown said, do you have to commit murder to get made?
You don't have to. but it used to be a must that you do, and I tell you, there's a lot of reasons why. Once you kill somebody, now they know that you're loyal, and you have that murder on your belt. Also, they see that you're able to do that. It's good. When we were gonna go and whack Mikey Nose that time when because I knew when Dominic wanted to do, basically I was gonna have to whack him with Dominic. But Dominic knew that I would take care of that. He knew I was going to do it. I had no choice, and that was it. But you used to have to whack somebody. There's been a couple of occasions where some people paid for their son to get made. Greg De Palma's son, I heard that was the thing. I heard he gave like 50,000, and then the kid wound up hanging himself when he went to MCC because he should have never been made. He was a nice kid and everything like that, but he should have never got made. And there's a few other people like that, but yeah, it's not so necessary, but I think it should be still though. That really proves your loyalty.
Here's one from Adam. He said,
"Hey Adam, what's going on?"
He said, "Who was the best guy you ever saw with hands in the streets?"
There was a lot of guys. Now there was some guys I saw in the street that were good with the hands that weren't even made. Believe me, there was Mike Lombardo from New Rochelle too. I seen him knock a guy out one punch. The guy he went from this way. He stood up. He didn't even go down right away. He just went like this. He went back like this. And me and James Razor, this other guy from New Rochelle, friend of mine, we just looked at it like this. We couldn't believe it. One punch, and the 2 or 3 guys that was hanging around with him looked at Mike, looked at the guy, then just went, "Wake up, are you okay?" That didn't even jump Mike because they saw what kind of guy he was. But yeah, there's a lot of guys. I hung around with a pretty tough crew. They were pretty devastating and doing a lot of damage. Like, look, there's some crews they can't even bust a grape, and the bottom line is that's okay. But you need to have the combination of tough guys, smart guys, capable guys, shooters, people who are earning money. You need to have the collaboration of all of that, and then your crew excels. But yeah, even my friends, I had Louis Galello, Lenny Montleone, all these guys were tough. All my guys were tough. Even Raymond Barreras. Yeah, they all everybody I knew pretty much could handle themselves. And even if they didn't, they'll fight you. But but some guys were really good. Fast. Mike Donato was good, very fast. Matter of fact, me and Mike Donato, his hands were just a little faster than mine, and he knew how to box too. And so, but he was just a little bit faster than me, gave him that edge.
Ryan Brown says, "Joe, how many guys in the life tried to pull the 'Do you know who I am' card?
Oh my God!
And did you drop them just on principle, or did you verbally put them in their place?"
Yeah, there was a couple of guys that did that. You know who I am, or you know where I'm from. Usually, we just don't even really want to talk to them anymore. Sometimes it would be one of the guys who wasn't involved in a life. We were. He used to hang out. We used to hang out with him and his brother. Used to go like to this one place in 21 North up in Portchester. And we were in the club, and he would say my last name. And I told him once before, I said to him, "Look, don't ever say my last name, because in case I got to do anything in here, they'll say, 'Oh, I heard that guy say that kid's last name,' and then I'll get in trouble." Well, he did it one more time, and I had to punch him then because and I felt bad for him, but he didn't learn. I can only tell you once not to do something. You know what I mean? Like here, when I went to go say goodbye to Dominic, I think we mentioned this on the show before. I'm supposed to kiss Dominic first because he's the boss, and then I kiss the soldier we was with Ace that time, and they only told me that once. You don't ever have to tell me that again. I don't need to be reminded. I'm not 2 years old. You just one time you tell me, and that's all it takes. But yeah, a lot of times they should be smacked. Nobody should ever say, "Do you know who I am?" Never say that.
Adam's killing it with the questions. Thanks, Adam. He says, "Did you know any of the Bath Ave guys like Paulie G? I heard they were tough kids."
They were tough. I actually was hanging around down at Bath Avenue when I first came home from my first bid. It was me and Bobby DeFeo, who I'd still smack him to this day, this kid Bobby. But he took me around by Spiro's crew, okay? And I was hanging around, and at the time, the Bath Avenue crew, I think some of them got killed, and some of them were away at the time. But I had heard a lot of good stories about them, and I always wanted to meet them, That's why even Jimmy Calandra, he's on he's on his own podcast too. I think he was a really good guy too, and he seems like a good guy to this day. But those guys were serious people. They knew a lot of people, but they were serious, and I wanted to meet them. But I hung around Spiro's place. There was a Big Apple car company then, and I hung around with him. Matter of fact, Anthony Spiro had an apartment. Anthony Spiro was a boss, okay, just in case anybody don't know that. And he was with the Bonanno crew like I was. And so my friend Bobby actually lived upstairs for a little while over the Big Apple Car Company. But I heard a lot of good stories about them.
Dave in Pittsburgh says, "Hey Joe, who is the one wise guy you would love to meet and why?"
I actually would have loved to meet. Well, I almost was going to meet John Gotti. That would have been pretty good. But I would have liked to meet Greg Scarpa because he was the real deal too. Look, you got these people, even though they said he cooperated for all those years too and all of that stuff. Well, he probably did that, but you know something, he probably saw it as a move to even have more clout, you know what I mean, and do what he could without maybe getting arrested. I don't know. I never spoke to him, but he was a real tough guy. There was a couple of them out there. I'll think about it for a little bit, and then I'll re-enter that. You know, we come back to this one. But there's a few of them.
Joy Rebel says, "Joe, do you know a former mafioso named Frank Goya or Gioia?"
Boy, that sounds real familiar. I think I was asked this question once before. I think I was asked that question. I don't remember offhand, you know? And I don't remember her firsthand. And going back to the other question again, I would have liked to have met, what do you call it, Al Capone?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with Jimmy Colangelo. He wasn't a wise guy, Jimmy, but I would have still liked to meet him. I would have liked to meet Al Capone. I would like to meet the guy, they called him the Big Tuna. He was out in Chicago or whatever it was like that. He was good. Like a lot of these guys, I would have liked to meet Lucky Luciano and them guys. So, you know, like I like the old timers, you know what I mean? You know.
Adam Rogers says, "Did you ever see Chuck Zito around New Rochelle? Do you have any stories with him?"
Oh, yeah, Chuck Zito was a good guy, too. He won't talk to me now, obviously, but Chuck Zito was the real deal. I did have a nice, long conversation in my friend Johnny Valenti's house one time. He had a problem with my friend Chaz, who was another great martial artist, too, married to my really good friend Diane Tozo. And Diane Tozo's good. She used to do kung fu. She was really tough, too, really good. I mean, she had a great technique, and her husband Charlie, if they're still married, I don't know. They called him Chaz, but Charlie was a good guy. I mean, a tough guy too himself. And they had some words, him and Chuck. Now, I know Charlie wasn't going to back down from Chucky, but you know, look.
Now, Chuck Zito is a pretty well-rounded martial artist, correct?
Oh, he's a boxer, a martial artist. Yeah, he's tough, bro. He's the real deal. I mean, you know. And listen, even if you were tougher than him, he could take a beating too. It's not like he's not like, you're not gonna knock him out, or like you got to be real good if you could even hit him and knock him out with a punch. You know, he was just that kind of guy.
Big fat head too.
He's tough. Yeah, he's the real deal, and he's old school. And I had a nice conversation with him in my friend Johnny Valenti's house. He was telling me about the story. I think it was a matter of like $5,000 back then, and I actually wanted I wanted to put the marriage together, get them together quick, because there was something about a video that Chaz was making for him. I forget exactly the whole 9 yards, but I spoke to him for about an hour downstairs in the basement where Johnny was living. And, you know, Chuck is just a good guy. And I remember him from when he came to the Chingaling Club, and he came up with the white motorcycle. And on the motorcycle, he had the Hells Angels creed on there. You know what I mean? And you're not, you know, if you're not a Hell's Angel, you're not even supposed to say that. You know what I mean? But I remember the creed by heart. I don't know if I should say, because maybe I might get Hell's Angels getting back to me, but I won't. But I asked him if I could say it, and I did, and he couldn't believe I remembered it. And at the end, he goes, "Yeah, bye-bye," and he gave me a big high five, and his hands are like that thick. So I went like this, boom, but I gave him the clap, so he knew, you know, but he didn't budge me. So that was good. But yeah, Chuck Zito is good people, real good people. And look, good stuntman, good actor. He does the Oz show, you know, all of that stuff. So
here's one from Ryan Brown. Joe, role playing. Dom or Vinny are in a bar, and I see them and suspect that they are wise guys. and I buy them drinks and do everything to ingratiate myself to them, how would they view that?
They, realistically, you can't really buy them a drink, to be honest with you, because they don't know you. They might say this if they even take it. But that's a good question more for even Dominic, because he was closer to Vinny than I was. I really only started hanging out with Vinny when we were in prison together in the box. A few times I waved to him a couple of times when I had to do some things with Dominic, and he saw that Dominic pulled the crew when I was part of his crew. But yeah, we don't. It's hard to buy a wise guy something unless you're really involved in that life. They're not going to talk to strangers, and that's just what it goes. That's why it's so hard to get in with them, because you got to come with. It's a lot to get involved in. Somebody's got to know you to say, here, go this, do that. This is so and so from over here. That's the way it goes.
We'll take a couple more guys before we wrap up for the day. Adam
Sure.
Rogers says, Joe, as far as you know, was Johnny Elite a real deal shooter, and do you have any stories with him?
Not Johnny Elite, no, because he's from the Gambino family. I've heard some good stories about him. I heard some other stories too where he backed down from guys, but I don't know if that's all true. You hear things. I mean, from what I understand, I don't think he was going to back down from anybody. Maybe he was just not looking to get into trouble anymore. You know what I mean? Because this is after he cooperated and everything like that. But yeah, in the street when he was working with John, I don't think he was going to back down from anybody. But I did hear those kind of good stories about him. So that's any more questions?
None for right now.
Okay, so anyways, look, I want everybody, no matter what you do, what you believe, what you think, the FBI are bad people. They might do some good things. Maybe now this guy Cash that's in there that's going to be the director is going to do some good things. I don't know. But you should, if you got a job to do, just do your job. Don't pretend to be somebody else. If you're a wise guy, be a wise guy. If you're an FBI agent, be an FBI agent. But don't try to play two ends to the middle. I ought to know, because I was working for the FBI and still undercover and with the wise guys, and it destroyed my entire life. Okay, so believe me when I know you're hearing it right from the horse's mouth. Any more questions at all? Anyways, guys, I want to wrap this up. Once again, I can't tell you how much I really appreciate everybody who tunes in, especially to mine and Dominic's show. I'm going to get together again with Gene and Dominic again. Dominic will always come on my show. He gave me his word on that, and I'll always go on his too. So, and I think Gene will do the same thing. Hopefully this Sunday I'll be back with Louis Kassman. We'll have some more. We'll do it live again if he's able to come on. He's got some personal things going on in his life.